Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to go over several players that I would consider to be underrated based on stats from spring. I understand that this video is coming out at the end of July, but it is a video that I probably should have uploaded during the spring break, maybe even during EWC, but I didn't. Didn't even recall doing this in the off season during the winter months. But point is, these players statistically were top three in their role, yet their team had a losing record or were bottom half of their region in spring. Okay, and the reason why I'm doing this is because we can kind of think about these players, consider how their summers are going, and whether the stats were indicative of something or not, and even one could say kind of argue why the stats are not as impactful, maybe why the stats are the way they are and why they end up on this list, but maybe are underperforming now, and we'll talk about that. So, in the LPL, we have two Anyone's Legends players and two IG players, finishing 10th and 9th, respectively, in spring. Now, Tabe joins Anyone's Legend, and Anyone's Legend is doing very well, and a lot of people want to give him credit for that. Prior to last spring, I considered Anyone's Legend to be a pretty good team. I thought Kale would be excellent in bot lane alongside Hope, and I mean the top lane was the issue with Harry. And Krako, I won't lie, had some reservations, but Shanks is an excellent mid laner. Now, the thing is, like, Tabe gets credit for this team's success, but Krako and Shanks were very, very good in spring prior to his arrival. So to say, oh, well, Tabe's the reason, well, I mean, he may have helped the bot lane duo, and keep in mind, Ale joining in top lane, he's a hell of an upgrade over Harry. So there are things to think about with Anyone's Legend. So Krako and Shanks were statistically very good in spring, and it's panned out so far in summer, and they're probably going to be in the conversation for top three in their role at the end of the regular season. Then you have An and Wink of IG. And then the issue is, they were separated. An now is playing alongside Vampire, and Wink's playing alongside Leave. And EDG and IG both are, as far as I'm concerned, disasters in different ways. IG have decided to go complete rebuild and made An the only veteran on the team. He may be, I think he's the only non-rookie on the team. YSKM starting in top lane again. So actually, it's An and YSKM and then three rookies. And then Wink joins EDG, which have, what do they have going on here? They've got a mess of their own, don't they? JJ. Solo kill is a struggle in top lane, to say the least. Cryin is solid. Leave is good. EDG should be doing better than they are. Wink is better than Vampire, in my opinion, so An struggling is whatever, but Wink should have been much better alongside Leave. But there are moments, I think in my statistics videos, I think back now, Leave and Wink have shown up a couple times. So that's a thing as well. Are they top three in their roles right now? I would probably say no. I don't have the stats on the board, but I'd probably say no. LCK Willer. Well, Willer is definitely not top three in his role in the LCK. Willer was benched, and in my opinion, unjustifiably so. Raptor's taken his place, and in my opinion, Willer was one of the, I would say, easily top dozen junglers in the world in spring. In the LCK to be top three, I think I actually had him first team All-Pro, would indicate that he is an elite jungler, at least in that meta. Now, he loses his job to Raptor. It does not make any sense to me. Willer is a player that many people give shade to, but completely forget that Willer has been around and started his career at like 17 years old and thrust into a world situation that he had no business being in. And in my opinion, he should be starting in any, I mean, like I said, he's top dozen in the world in spring, so easily. And first in the LCK, but I'm trying to be generous here and say, that meta, he may have been excellent, but what about the others? That kid should be on a team right now in the LCK. It's honestly, it's terrible decision making by FearX. Just absolutely terrible. Pitiful. LCS, we have 3 Korean imports. So Rich, everyone knows who he is. So I could have argued not even putting him on there. I wouldn't say he's underrated. I think as a carry-oriented top, high resource, he's pretty good. He was heavy resources in spring with Dignitas. He actually, believe he might have led top laners in the 4 major regions in damage share and was towards the top in gold share, but the difference still was massive, which led him to be one of the most efficient players in terms of share as well. Um, I mean, he probably should be starting in a major region, in my opinion. Does that mean that he's necessarily underrated? I don't know. I mean, as a weak side player, I'd say he leaves a lot to be desired. And with Ninja and Pajamas, I mean, he had a few games with them, struggled. Rich, it is what it is. Mask, a rookie at the tier 1 level. So with IMT, it's kind of similar to the Rich situation. B-Voy, I guess we could put in this basket as well, but B-Voy, no, we're not putting B-Voy in this basket. But Mask is, a player that's going to probably have 1v9 like stats. Heavy resources, deals a lot of damage. But in the end, I don't think he is he's probably not better than import territory. I don't think you could play in the LCK or the LPL. But at the same time, I mean, he can be upper half LCS for sure. So underrated, I mean, on the world stage, probably not, but in the LCS, I believe so. I believe Mask is one of the better mids in the LCS. And I guess you could say the same thing about Rich in the LCS situation. Some people said, oh, this, that, and the third. I think Rich is one of the better ones in the LCS. And then B-Voy, I won't lie. I mean, I think he may be the oldest AD carry in the 4 major regions, which is a pretty big deal at the tier 1 level. I mean, he did very well in minor regions in Brazil and Latin America. If I recall, he's played in all 4 major regions at some point in his career, so he does deserve some, praise for that. I mean, not many players can claim that. But, I mean, similar to the situation with Mask, I mean, it's 1v9 territory, right? Insanity's playing tanks mid. Fake God is not very good. Tomio, I mean, is playing now, but when they had Boogie probably better than Tomio, but Boogie's pretty much retired, so, I mean, is he underrated? I don't think so. I think B-Voy is just, doing well because he's played in minor regions before. He knows how to play around players that aren't very good and therefore is playing with Shopify. I mean, it is what it is. Contracts at FBI, NRG. I put it in parentheses because I don't think they're underrated. We all know contracts and FBI are. We know how good they are at the international stage. They both were able to get that team to the quarterfinals at Worlds, which is an accomplishment. But this spring they sucked, and in summer I don't think it's going much better. But at the same time, this team didn't do very well last summer either, and got to Worlds, playing very well in playoffs. So that's a thing. LEC, Larson always grades out as a very good mid statistically. Some people would say, oh, he's a KDA player, oh, he's a stats player, this, that, and the third. I think he's pretty good. I think he's went to international events, did his job. Do I think he's as good as Humanoid? No. I think Humanoid does better, especially at international events. But Larson, I mean, he's upper half LEC, and I think a lot of people kind of don't give him that credit. Easily upper half. I think statistically he grades out as top 3 more often than not. So, if a player's showing that kind of consistency, split in and split out, and people kind of ignore him, then I would say he is heavily underrated. And Rogue struggled, so that's whatever. Speaking of Rogue, we have Zoli's, rookie player. Statistically very strong in spring. But we also have to factor in supports don't have as many stats as the other 4 roles to base this off of. So we got to keep that in mind. But his vision numbers were okay. His kill participation was good. Champions played. I think he had a wide champion pool in winter and maybe even in spring. So that's a thing. I mean, he's a rookie, right? So if he falls off in summer, that kind of explains it. We have Supa for Mad Lions Koi. Definitely a player I probably underrated going into the year. At the same time, in summer, he's kind of, Mad Lions have fallen off. Kind of falling back into what I thought would happen when the season started, saying that, hey, I could see MDK doing very well in winter, but that being their peak. And then once everyone catches back up to them and with their new rosters, etc., that MAD would fall off a bit, and they have. So that's a thing. But Supa, very aggressive player, that's without a doubt. His positioning can be lackluster at times, but that's part of the bag. A player can be that's part of it. The coin flip 80 carry, and I mean, an older rookie though, so keep that in mind. He might be old. He's older than probably the majority of players on this board. Ignar, similar to, I would say, the Rich situation. He's not really underrated. Well, actually, you know what? No, he is. He has taken two teams and done very well with them from the LCS and FlyQuest and then NRG, and deserves a lot more credit than he gets for that. That FlyQuest team in 2019, 2020 Worlds, where they were paired with Unicorns of Love, DRX, and Top Esports. That was tough, right? That was tough, and they went 3-3. And in part due to Santorum, PoE, and Ignar. And then Ignar joins NRG, and you could argue Contracts, Palafox, and he carried that team and got them very deep in the world's run, like I've said for Palafox and FBI. So deserves more credit. He's probably underrated over his entire career. A lot of people, he's played a long time. So there are a lot of years in the middle of that, but when you see him on a good team that can get to an international event, he does shine. He does look like he belongs. And when you think of Ignar, I feel like a lot of people probably don't think that he belongs at an international event, but his performances speak for themselves. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.